What's going on YouTube? So the Volvo XC60 has long been one of the best-selling Volvos in their lineup, and it's also long been one of the best-selling products in the compact luxury SUV segment. Now, in order to keep strengthening that position, Volvo has introduced a lot of alternative powertrain options for this XC60, and we're standing next to the latest one, the T8 Recharge Extended Range. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into this review, see what's new with this brand new powertrain, and check out all the fashion with this R design. Now, even though this Recharge Extended Range was just now dropped off at the dealership, the refreshed XC60 has been around for a few months. We actually reviewed one about 8 months ago at this point. With that came some revisions to the design, not anything super large, but you still have a little bit of a massage fascia up here in the front. And one of the nice things is that Volvo lets you choose all the design groups with all the different engine options. So that means with this Recharge, we could still combine it with this R design, which is going to give you the black mesh grille, the black grille surrounds. Makes for a really sleek look, especially when you pair it with the black exterior paint. And then as we come over here to the headlights, of course, this is your signature Thor's Hammer LED headlights. They do have adaptive abilities baked right into that as well. And I do want to point out something, though, with the T8 Recharge model. The area where the fog lights are, you're actually not going to find those. They're not available with the T8 Recharge, even though they would normally be standard on the R design. So with the refresh, they did also upgrade the different wheel options. We actually have the largest wheel you can get on any XC60. We have these fantastic looking 21-inch alloy wheels. They are optional on the R design in place of the standard option. And as you can see, beautiful design, love the black accenting. Again, the size is very big for this class of vehicle as well. And we'll continue up to our mirrors. These are going to come fully equipped with the entire suite of things you would want in a mirror. That's going to be blind spot monitoring, auto dimming, power folding, and heating. But now let's go ahead and head over to the other side and talk about the charge port real quick. So here is where the charge port is on the XC60 Recharge. The important thing with this extended range model, and I want to go ahead and mention it straight from the start, is that we've upgraded the battery capacity by quite a bit. So we've now gone to a number that I don't remember. I remember numbers. All I have to remember is just two numbers, 18.8. That's not even a hard number to remember. So the battery capacity has increased from 11.6 kilowatt hours to 18.8 kilowatt hours because Volvo has basically added a third layer to the battery, increasing that density and of course giving you more energy and, which we'll talk about in just a little bit, quite a bit more pure electric range. But I just wanted to go ahead and mention that here on the outside, and now I'll hand it off to Mason as always.
All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the length of the Volvo XC60. So in terms of the overall length, you're looking at 184.5 inches, which does place it right in par with the vast majority of the competition. And as far as just the design in general, I think this is a very good looking vehicle from the side, especially with those really nice wheels that Drew just talked about. Also for this R design, we have all the blacked out window surrounds, and we also have blacked out roof rails, which are new to all XC60s for 2022. Now coming around to the rear design, they have slightly updated the design for 2022. There's a few different features going on here, but they're not going to really revolutionize the design, as they totally shouldn't, because this is a very classy and elegant overall look. I love it. Now, as far as some of the individual design elements, we have this kind of sloping glass. We also have our wiper exposed right here. Volvo branding out across the back, and then look at these taillights. These are some of the most gorgeous taillights in the industry, and they're also some of the most recognizable. We have the long length here. They're all full LED. You have all the accenting and also the turn signal and reverse light are also LED, so every component in there is very premium. Dropping down to this lower area, this is where you're going to find some 2022 changes. All of the XC60s, not just this T8, will get rid of the exhaust pipes, and they're going to give you a different diffuser design for the R design, so that's what you're seeing right now. And I really do like the way this looks. It's pretty convincing that it has exhaust pipes, so I can't complain too much that Volvo eliminated them this year. Now, you've seen all the ads. Volvos are all about safety, so as you would expect, they are going to throw in every single one of your systems as standard equipment, so that includes forward emergency braking with pedestrian detection, lane keeping assist, auto high beams, as well as adaptive cruise control. Now, I also want to point out for 2022, Volvo says that they've added better sensors in their next generation of sensors, so I'm not exactly sure what that means in practice, but you know, that is upgraded this year. Now, as far as your warranty is concerned, you're looking at Volvo's signature warranty, 4-year 50,000 mile basic and powertrain warranty. They're also going to throw in 3 years and 36,000 miles of complimentary maintenance, so that's a pretty solid warranty for this luxury vehicle. But guys, that's all for this R design on the outside. As you can tell, it's absolutely gorgeous, but I know Volvo has a luxurious interior, so let's check that out before we take it out in a spin.
So of course, walking up to the XC60, you do have a smart entry system. No leather fob for 2022 though, helps with the wear and tear. And then getting inside, just grab behind the handle, of course. Now, since we did review a different version about 8 months ago, we are going to keep the focus kind of on the R design and the T8 recharge for this specific review. As such, I do want to talk about specifically these seats on the R design. So what we have is a new design for 2022. It is a Nappa leather, but we do have these textile cloth inserts that run through here. Really like the way these look. I like the way they feel as well. Volvo really does seats so well. They're just beautiful to look at, so comfortable to set in. Our design does come with adjusting bolsters as well as a power thigh extension as well. Let's look around the cabin at the materials in general, starting with the door trim. Of course, we do have a nice leather pad across the armrest. You'll see that cloth insert right there for the R design. It is going to be soft touch along the top and the middle. And we do have a metal speaker grille as well as our standard 2-person memory seating starting on this R design. As far as the windows, one touch auto up and down for all 4. And continuing up to the upper dash, our design is going to include the leatherette dashboard, so the entire upper part is finished in the leatherette with the stitching detail, as is the middle section there. And then you've got the signature beautiful piece of trim that Volvo does where it just kind of seamlessly connects and runs through here. On the R design, it's a genuine textured aluminum, and you'll find that textured aluminum down through here as well, although the side is still not padded with leather. Now start up, you'll notice no button. Just like usual, you do have this twist knob down here on the dash. And right from the start here, you will be greeted with the new digital gauge cluster. So of course, many Volvos have had a gauge cluster that was digital in the past. However, this is a fully upgraded system based on the new Android Automotive interface, which I'll talk about in a little bit. And as you can see, very vivid, very crisp, big improvement from the previous version. We have brand new graphics on board, and of course you can do various things to adjust the design and whatnot. Right now we just have the navigation map right there in the middle. Additionally, since we have the advanced package, it's a little hard to see since we're projecting onto a white car here, but we do have the head-up display as well. And pulling back to the steering wheel, we do have Volvo's signature steering wheel design. Nice piano black accents throughout. It's going to be, of course, leather wrapped, and then it's going to be manual adjusting no matter which trim level. However, we do have the optional steering wheel heating in the climate package. But as a family crossover, let's check the storage. Start out underneath the center console, of course. And as you can see, decent amount of space. It's not overly giant, but that's what you expect for this segment. It does have a nice felt lining inside, and the USB ports have been upgraded. Both of them are now USB Type-C ports for 2022. There goes my coupons though. A little bit of a tight fit, but if we push them in, they're actually going to fit, so it does pass the coupon test. Now let's slide back this aluminum piece here. That's where you're going to find your 2 cup holders. You also find your wireless phone charging pad, and then you have a little 12-volt outlet up there in front of that. As I pull back here to the shifter, this is the electronic shifter that Volvos use. You pull back twice to get to drives, because the first time it's going to go into neutral, so be aware of that. You don't have any paddle shifters on the steering wheel, and then for reverse, tap up 2 times again. When we go into reverse, you will be greeted with the standard backup camera. As you can see, we do have active trajectory. However, on our model, we also have the 360-degree camera system, so you can click that button right there. You can see that large overhead view, which actually does take up the entire display. I do like that. And you can also isolate the individual cameras if there's something specific that you are looking for. And then for park, just press the P right next to that shifter. Of course, you do have an electronic parking brake, as well as a brake hold function located right there. Now, of course, a lot of the functions of this vehicle are going to be in the main display. However, we do still have physical audio controls. So with the R design, that's going to come standard with the upgraded 600-watt 14-speaker Harman Kardon premium sound system. And as always, let's go ahead and give it a sample. Yeah, so overall sound quality of this system is absolutely superb. It sounds fantastic. You can continue actually to get the 1100 watt 15 speaker Bauer & Wilkins sound system for an additional $3,200. Unless you're just like a huge audiophile, you definitely don't need that. This sound system sounds excellent. However, I have sampled that and it's one of the best sound systems in the entire auto industry. Okay, so let's take a look at our main display. So this remains a 9-inch display, but of course the infotainment system itself is different. So this is running the new Android Automotive infotainment system, but it does have a custom skin. So if you have been watching some of our recent videos, you know that General Motors is actually rolling this out to a lot of their products, but it looks totally different because each brand does have their own custom skin. On top of it, it's just kind of the backbone is Google, and different Google features baked into it, such as Google Maps being built right into the vehicle, as well as the Google Assistant, so you can talk to the vehicle, you can say commands like, hey Google, stuff like that, and it will listen to you, as you can see. That does mean you have things like live traffic, and you do also have wireless Android Auto and wireless Apple CarPlay abilities. I don't think the Android Auto has been activated yet. That's probably still coming in a software update, which they haven't released yet, but we are promised to have wireless versions of both systems. Even though this is an Android Automotive system, you can still, of course, use your Apple phone. Now, in addition to that, your climate controls are baked right into the display itself. So we've got the dual zone automatic climate on this specific example. So you can adjust your temperature right there through that system. You can also turn on your 3-stage heated seats, which are standard on our design. There's our heated steering wheel. Seat ventilation is available, but it's only going to be on the inscription trim level, not the R design. Then moving on up from that, we do have a standard auto dimming mirror, 3 HomeLink universal remotes, and it is the frameless design. And then up at the top, you're going to notice touch sensitive LED lighting. And we also have a new touch-sensitive control for the sunroof here. So if I swipe back like that, that's actually what's going to roll back the sunshade. This is a standard panoramic sunroof. It's included on every version of the XC60. And of course, the front portion does open up.
Well guys, this is a family SUV, so let's go ahead and hop back in the second row and see how this is in the XC60. Now, I'm happy to say this is a really nice place to spend time, as you would expect out of a luxury SUV, but as far as the space is concerned, that's also going to be a really good area. We're looking at 38 inches of rear legroom, 38 inches of rear headroom, so behind my knees and the seating position, the seat is adjusted to Drew, who's 5'8". I'm 5'9". I'm looking at probably, I'd say, 8 or 9 inches of legroom, which is impressive. Also, my feet have acres of space up underneath of the seat to slide, so really quite happy back here. As far as the competition, that's actually larger than the Volvo XC90's second row, so that's an interesting fact. It's also right on par with Q5 and Mercedes GLC. Now let's look at our features back here. We have this whole area right here. This is, just your normal XC60 part here. However, I do want to point out that you can get 4-zone climate if you go for a higher end XC60 model, and you will notice up above that we do have heated rear seats. Those are included in the climate package for the R Design model. If we drop below that, we have 2 USB Type-C ports, and if we fold down the center armrest, you will notice it's a really nice center armrest. I'm glad that they didn't fill up this whole area with cup holders, so I can fully rest my arm here and have my drink here, so that's quite nice. We have vents in the B pillar over here. And then looking at your door trim, it is made of nice materials. Soft touch plastic on the vast majority of it. However, the armrest is leather wrap, and we do have a bottle holder in the very bottom. Now coming up to our tailgate, on the XC60, you actually are going to have a very nice standard feature. You have standard power as well as hands-free abilities. So that's on every XC60, so I'm very happy to see that. Also, you're going to have a nice arrow here telling you where to kick, so that I appreciate that because each brand is different. As you can see, kicking it reveals it's very sensitive and it works very well. Now as far as the space back here, you're going to look at another figure that's really class leading. You're looking at 22.4 cubic feet of cargo capacity behind the second row seats. If we fold them down, we're looking at 63.3 cubic feet of cargo capacity as a maximum, which does place this as larger than the Audi Q5, Mercedes GLC, all of its main rivals. This is one of the largest offerings you can get, so that's certainly something worth considering when you're looking at those rivals. Now as far as other finishings back here, we have a nice cargo cover up top. The seats do fold 60-40 split. However, you will notice that there's a trunk pass-through, so if you have like skis or something, you might be able to keep those seats up. On the left side, we have the storage cubby. We also have a 12-volt power outlet. And then lifting up your floor here, it's nice carpeting. You will have this little area here, but all this space is going to be occupied by that battery since we do have that T8 model. Now your passenger seat is going to be power adjusting. You of course know Volvo is famous for their seats, so you're going to have all the adjustments here. We even have the lumbar support, the bolster adjustment, and we're also going to have 2-person memory seating. So Volvo does the passenger seat right. If you want good seats, get a Volvo. If we open up the glove box here, this is a massive glove box. I love this. Look at all of that. We have plenty of room for our coupons, cheese lovers, we got our Hardee's coupons, all of them fit in there. You don't have to pick. And it's also really nicely felt lined too. Up top we have a sun visor, we have some LED lighting, a mirror, and we can also detach the visor. However, there is not an extension in the end.
Now, of course, this is a plug-in hybrid model, so you can drive around on electric, and it is nice and quiet. We don't have much battery capacity, so we won't be able to do much in terms of like pure electric driving today because it has been very cold, so I guess it kind of zapped the battery down. But of course, yeah, regardless if you have a dead battery, that's kind of the thing with the plug-in hybrids, is that you can still run the vehicle as a hybrid. It's going to be significantly more efficient than the standard gas-powered model, and you can still go about your daily business.
Yeah.
And while we sit here, we might as well talk about the upgraded battery pack. Like I said, on the exterior, it has been upgraded to 18.8 kilowatt hours, which is going to give you a pretty substantial improvement over what it was before. In terms of what the real-world range is going to be, 35 miles of pure electric. So that is really well within, I think, most people's everyday commute. So you could very realistically never use the gas engine in this if you charge it every single night at your house, which that's really cool.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The interesting thing about it, and which of course doesn't get as much publicity as the fact that you do have that vastly increased pure electric range is actually the fact that we're behind the wheel of the most powerful Volvo powertrain ever.
Yeah.
Because the power has also been quite enhanced as well. This family compact crossover produces 455 horsepower now. So that is some pretty serious power, and you can certainly feel that. Of course, everything's working in concert together, so you have the electric torque, and then you still have the 2-liter motor under the hood. Really puts the power down quite nicely.
That's quick. That threw me back in my seat a lot. So as far as some technical stuff here, that new 18.8 kilowatt hour battery now delivers 143 horsepower just from the electric motor components, which is up from 87 for the smaller kilowatt hour battery that we had before.
Yeah, the rear electric motor has been upgraded.
And as far as the combined torque figure, you look at 455 horsepower, 523 pound-feet of torque, guys. Over 500 pound-feet of torque, and you feel every bit of that. Wow. And we're up to 55 miles an hour, and we got our sound sample. I know it's a little bit early in the test drive to be doing the sound sample, but in the city area, you got to take what you can get. We're looking at 58.3 decibels, which is very, very good for a luxury vehicle. And, you know, I just want to mention just the overall ride quality and comfort. You know, we mentioned a lot about the powertrain components. Of course, that's a big deal for this, you know, new extended range T8 model, but really the ride quality is an exceptionally good element about this XC60 because it just does the everyday livability so well. If you're looking for a compact luxury SUV that does the luxury side and smooth riding, even on 21-inch wheels, super comfortable seats, and quiet at 58 decibels, I mean, I can't really think of a thing in the segment that's any better, so.
This thing just kind of surprises you, and it is so quiet and like nonchalant about it.
Yeah,
too.
That's the funny part about it, is that it's just very subdued but really fast. Like, you don't expect it to be that fast unless it's like making BMW X3 M40i noises and stuff. But
yeah,
that's crazy.
I do want to go ahead and talk about the transmission. It is an 8-speed automatic transmission. Nothing in this regard is really different from previously. Nice transmission, nice and smooth. Again, running as a hybrid like we are right now, the trade-off between the engine and electric power is very seamless.
Yeah.
They do a pretty good job. You can feel a little bit when that engine kicks in because we have a lot of power on board, but you can't really hear anything or feel anything in terms of vibrations. And I also want to point out that with this upgraded electric setup that we have this year, we now have the ability to do one-pedal driving when you upgrade the regen mode.
Now, since he was talking about, you know, the electric components and how they work well together, you know, it's not just about performance, it's also about fuel economy too, so that's a really cool thing about this. So we're looking at a MPGe rating, so, you know, with that combined electric component, you know, their unique way of doing that, we're looking at 63 miles MPGe, and then if you're looking at just raw MPG without that additional electric component, you're looking at 28 miles a gallon combined, which is still really good fuel economy for a vehicle in this segment, just to have like that hybrid part to it. So that's certainly something worth noting, is that you're going to be saving money on fuel cost for this XC60.
Let's go ahead and do today's slam dunk and airball. So on the slam dunk side of things, this upgraded powertrain has got to be it. I mean, can't complain, right? More power, more pure electric range. That's a win-win-win-win when it comes to a plug-in hybrid.
Yeah. Now, for our airball, what we're going to say is that this model is a little bit pricey. We're looking at an as-tested price for this particular model at a little over $67,000. Now, I do say that with a little bit of an asterisk, though, because new for this extended range model, one of the really big and awesome elements about it is not only you get that more power, you get the better range in the battery as well, you're also now qualified for the full $7,500 federal tax rebate. So yes, that does, depending on your tax situation, reduce that price down quite a bit. So you're looking at, 67 minus the 7,500 maximum. You could be looking at around a $60,000 price tag for this particular model.
But overall, really quite impressed by what Volvo has done here. Of course, they were really one of the kind of early adopters in the luxury segment to move to plug-in hybrid powertrains, and I really appreciate that year after year they've continued to make meaningful upgrades to this powertrain. And then of course you have the overall formula of this XC60 with the refresh, adding new features, enhancing the luxury and technology on board. I mean, this is a really, really solid compact luxury crossover.
Well guys, we hope you enjoyed watching this in-depth review of the 2022 Volvo XC60 R design. As you can see, this is one sleek and sexy family SUV. And if you enjoyed watching this video, we would really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. It helps give us access to a lot more cars to review, so it's really helping you out in turn because we're able to provide you all with better content. And also follow us on TikTok and Instagram, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.